congratulations on the new position. You obviously step into a very good defense. How much pressure comes with that? They were the number one ranked defense.
Our whole business Kurt, deals with pressure. I don't think it's pressure. I think it's more of an opportunity. Anytime you get a chance to be a part of greatness, join greatness, be a part of a bunch of winning like you guys have been able to do around here in the past, to be able to add on to that, to be able to join a bunch of really good coaches, a really good bunch of group of players, you're really just fired up more than pressure. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to be a part of greatness, and it's certainly something that I'm going to relish.
And just a quick follow-up on that is, how you obviously had great success in Tampa and Atlanta. When you step into this position, how much of it, knowing how good they were last year, do you adapt some of what they were doing, or is it a complete, no, this is what we're going to do?
No, you kind of formulate things that you do around your players. Staley did a great job of doing really things that his really good players can do. He did a great job of doing the things that the guys are capable of doing here. There'll be a lot of things that'll be similar. There's a lot of things that was similar from Wade was here. There are a lot of things that are similar from Staley did it. And it's based on the guys that you have. And the guys that you have here are really talented. They're great players. They look forward to playing the game the right way. I've been fortunate enough to be able to watch them a little bit around here with the guys, being able to get with these great coaches, being in these meetings. It's been exciting.
Appreciate it. Congratulations.
No problem, Kurt.
Maria?
Welcome to the Rams, Coach.
Thank you, Maria.
Wondering if you've had a chance to talk to any of the players yet, or just touch base, or do you know any of the players?
You know all the guys just throughout the draft process. When you go through the draft process and you do it extensive as we do in the NFL, you get a chance to evaluate, to look at, to be able to see a bunch of the guys. You get a chance when you get the job to be able to go back and look at the tape and what they've been able to do from the guys that have played. And now being in the building, you can go watch practice and get really caught up and look at these guys. You've seen a couple of guys that have come around the building. I've been able to see some of those guys that come in and get in there, like, the injury stuff, and walk by and be able to say, how you doing? I've been able to contact with a couple of guys on phone, and that's been a really good thing, just to get, acclimated with the guys, to let these guys know what we're here to do and how we want to do it. There's no secret here in LA that you guys are set up to win a championship, and those guys know the standard. They know what we're going to try to do here.
Thank you.
No problem, Maria.
Hey, Raheem, congratulations. Two questions for you. I know most schemes are multiple, but are you going to be a base 4-man front or 3-man front? And then how much have you been able to kind of dive into tape and start figuring out, where guys fit?
As you know, Eric, you're well versed with all this stuff on defense. When you go into your sub packages, which the league has kind of developed into, you see a lot more 4-down fronts. Whether you're talking about odd, whether you're talking about even, whether you're talking about bringing different people in to do some different things. You're going to do all those things. You're going to have all those different type of packages. Obviously, when you talk about who you are and what you are, we're going to look like a 3-4 base team. It's sort of like we tried to look like in Atlanta. You have all those packages within the install. You want to put those things in a timely basis. Sean's going to do a great job of setting them up and how they go in and how we install our things and how we get our stuff taught to our players and what's the best way to do those things to be detailed as possible. And all those things that we want to do. This should be great. It's been really fun to watch. It's been really fun to watch these guys and what they did last year. It's been really fun to watch these guys and how they install. It's been really fun to be around these coaches, to listen to these guys and all the great coaching points that they have and what the stuff that we want to do. The Shules of the world, the Thaddeus of the world, the Hennies of the world. These guys, Ejero, these guys are doing such a great job of schooling me up and talking about some of the things they've done. And I'm talking about some of the things that I've done. And it just helps that I have such a rapport with some of the guys from before and over the years. And Ejero, being a guy that worked with me and was able to work under me as an assistant. A guy that worked here that's going now, Aubrey Pleasant. Being around these guys and being able to get acclimated with the new guys that way has really been helpful.
Raheem, congratulations, first of all. You have watched young defensive players develop into impact players. How has that influenced the way you coach?
At a very young age, Claudia, I was fortunate enough to be around the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And being around the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that young years with John Lynch, who just went in the Hall of Fame, a Derek Brooks, a Rondé Barber, a Brian Kelly, Dwight Smith, Warren Sapp, Simeon Rice, and just so many names that develop into just great players in this league, whether they were young, whether they were older. all the things that they were able to bring to the table just have been able to help me. You got to talk to these guys in different ways. You got to treat people in different ways. You got to do different things. You got to use different tactics. And just last year, with the challenge that we had with just Zoom, you learn even more from that. Some of these guys love this Zoom style of learning. Some of these guys like to know the stuff from a cell phone. Some of these guys like to sit at their house and be able to pick it up and come into the classrooms, and rather than being in the classroom. Some of these guys like to get it on the field. So you just develop it as it goes. You teach these guys the way they need to be taught. They got a lot of great players here. They got a lot of good players here. I can't wait to meet them all and pick up on all their particular learning styles, which I'm trying to get from the coaches now.
You and Sean McVay worked together in the past. How much easier does that make fitting in the coaching staff?
I don't know if it's just working with Sean. I think it's the culture that he's developed around here. You know, him and Les have done a great job of developing the culture at the Rams and what they want to be and how they want to do it. It's been a lot of fun sitting in these meetings right now, talking about our team and hearing everybody within our program talk about our team, from our trainer to our strength coach to just everybody across the board, and hearing all these information, all the things that we get from the guys, from our equipment room, knowing how the culture's been built, knowing where we want to go and what we want to do, just makes it an easier flow just into this building, because it's so closely related to what we want to be and how we want to do it.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you, Claudia.
Jordan?
Hey Raheem, I'm Jordan Rodriguez with the Athletic Los Angeles. Nice to meet you and
Hey,
welcome,
Jordan.
I guess, virtually. So I really appreciated what you talked about with JV Long earlier this week about some of the blending of that Tampa 2 that you came up on, and some of the Fangio Staley, some of the Wade stuff. To you, philosophically, first of all, what does that look like? And then physically, what does that look like? What are some key characteristics of that?
You know, the first thing is the greatest coaches in this league are the best thieves. And I've been able to steal from these guys from afar for a long time. So to be able to be a part of it and steal some of the greatest things that you get from some great coaches like a Staley, the Vic Fangio system, whether you're talking about the Monty Kiffin Tampa 2 or the Tony Dungy Tampa 2, however you want to word it, whatever you want to go, whichever great coach you want to bring about. It's all about those things. But at the end of the day, it all goes back to the competitiveness of the team, the toughness of the team, the physicality of the team, the hustle and hit of the team. You know, some of the core beliefs that we're going to be a part of here. This is a fundamental team. This is a fundamentally developed team. And they did a great job of developing these guys fundamentally. Some they went out and bought, like a Jalen Ramsey. And he's a fundamentally sound, absolute just dog competitor. And he's an absolute dog guy that you want to go out there with toughness and to be able to play. Then you got guys like Aaron Donald that they have been able to draft and acquire throughout the draft and do some of the things that way, who just develop into these great players. And then after you get a few great players, you get people around them that find that they're just better than what they even thought. And they become better versions of themselves. And so do the coaches. And it's no secret that the Rams coaching staff has just been rated the way it has been because of the thing they've been able to do here. And it starts with our leader, Sean McVay.
And then, if I may, as a teacher, I'm wondering, maybe less so professionally, but more so personally, who have been some influences on you as you've made your way as a teacher through this league?
You know, again, you hate to go back and keep talking about your Tampa days, but it was just fortunate for me to go there. When I first started at Tampa, I felt like it was the Harvard of football. You know, I walked into a building where Monty Kiffin was the defensive coordinator. I walked into a building where Mike Tomlin was the secondary coach, and I was able to assist him. Joe Barry, which you guys are very familiar with, was our linebacker coach. You know, our D-line coach was Rod Marinelli. And those guys all had something in common that I thought was very unique. They were great communicators. And being a great communicator, they did it in all their own different ways, their own different tones, and you're able to steal from all those guys. You got to have been around Joe Barry for the last couple of years, and you know how well he communicates with his guys. You know how well he's able to communicate with the media. You know how well he's able to get his message across to his guys to go out there and perform at a high level. And one of the things that I got from Mike Tomlin is how to be able to talk to people, be direct, to be able to get those guys together and go out there and be their best selves. We talked about it for a long time about people being bus drivers. And when I come to the Rams, I get a chance to see a lot of groups and a lot of dynamics of people being bus drivers and leading this group the way they want to lead them. And it's been awesome.
Thanks, Raheem.
No problem, Jordan.
Stu?
Hey, Raheem. Stu Jackson with the Rams.com. You touched on Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey a little bit, but just what's kind of your vision for them in terms of how you'd like to deploy them and use them without, of course, giving away any details or game plans secrets of any kind?
Stu, don't mess them up. Let's let these guys get going. You know, Jalen is a great player. He's probably rare. He's unique. He can be a shutdown corner. You can move him inside. He can play at the nickel position. He's smart. You know, you see his toughness oozing all over the tape. You see his competitive nature just all over the tape. You see the exciting plays. You see what he can be and his best version of himself at all times when he's out there on the field. Him as a leader, you would love to see him just take that to another level, because I can just see people wanting to follow him because of his style of play. Aaron Donald, man, is just like so much fun to watch. He's just a disruptor. He's a finisher. He's the guy that just gets things going. He leads by example, and you can just see it on the field. Nothing he does on the field is shocking. Right now at this point, I'm just sitting here and I'm just wowed. I'm amazed at some of the things he's able to do. You want to get him lined up and find ways to get him one-on-ones. But at the same time, he's done such a great job of getting his teammates one-on-ones and setting up the guys around him that you don't want to take away that part of his strength either.
And then you also coached wide receivers when you were in Atlanta. How did that kind of shape, for lack of a better term, an all-22 perspective and influence the way you coach a defense?
I've always been nosy when it comes to offensive football. So at a very young age, I was able to sneak into John Gruden's meetings when he was dealing with the quarterback and having his quarterback school. I've always been nosy, been able to be around Kyle Shanahan, been able to be around Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, and all these different boy geniuses right now that we all got going on. I'm around lead dog catalyst, boy genius himself, being able to work for him again. But being around these guys and you talk offense and you do the things that you want to do, you formulate how you want to play defense and what you want to do against these guys. Some of our calls now relate like that. Some of our calls sound like offensive calls. Some of our alerts, some of our checks and balances, things that we do are all formulated based off your offensive knowledge and some of the things that you've been able to do in the past. And it only gets better. Going into an OTA day, which we hope this year, or going into a training camp, or however it may look, when you compete against your own, it only makes it more relevant in the competition and the trash talk that can go along with that. Sean is a great coach. I love being around him. I can't wait to be back around him when we're on the field for the excitement and the competitive nature of how he is.
Nick?
This thing is long, man. You guys kill me out here in L.A.
Hey, Coach Morris, how you doing? Welcome to LA.
How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing great. Wanted to ask you being such a defensive technician as far as really strategizing on the defensive side of the ball, but you also had a way of getting to players' personalities and kind of understanding them. What are some of the things that you feel like you have to do with this team's defense as far as them and be able to put them in the right positions for success?
I think you hit the key parts of that. It's me getting to know them. Those guys don't owe me anything. I think it's my job to come in and allow myself to be myself, my best version of myself. That's a communicator. That's a guy that can be a confidant to these guys. That's a guy that can get these guys lined up and be able to do the best things that they can do. That is my job. I think these guys are all shown a professionalism that you guys can all attest to that has been at a high level. I want to be a part of this group. I don't have to be this group. I don't need to be the face of this group. I want to be a part of this group. I want to be one of the reasons that we're very good. I want to be one of the reasons that we win a Super Bowl. I want to be one of the reasons that we're going to be great. These guys have done it at a high level. Like I mentioned before, we got some young, we got some oiled machines at coach. We got some young, we got some old, we got some veteran, we got some great players, and I'm just excited to be a part of it.
All right, hey, Coach, we got 5 left. We'll run through really quickly. Hey,
Artist, I'm just joking, man. You can do what you need to do. It's the first time. It's the first time we're talking, and I'm all set. I'm just here.
Hi, Raheem. Good to meet you. I'm Kevin Modesti. I cover the Rams for the LA Daily News, Orange County Register, 9 other papers in the group.
You show off, Kevin.
You and Sean, I think, go back to 2008. Was the possibility of your joining the Rams discussed in, let's say, 2017 or 2020? What made this the right moment?
No. When you're really good friends with the people that you learn to be friends with in this profession, those things are never really discussed, because your focus is on winning wherever you are at the time. So in 2017, I was focused on trying to get a win versus the Philadelphia Eagles in the last play of the game to advance me to the next round of the playoffs. Right after we just beat the Rams, my ad. But that was my investment at those times. But getting a chance, whenever you get a chance to be around some of the great people and the great coaches in this profession, you jump on those opportunities. And not just great, because there are people that you don't know are great, but when you get a chance to be around the great coaches and the great people in the profession that you know and got personal relationships for and with, that's always a great opportunity for anyone, just any profession. Like I'm sure, Kevin, you would work for less papers if you had a chance to work for somebody that you knew and you were emotionally invested for and wanted to win for and writing a better version for it, you know. But I had a great opportunity to come here and work with Sean, to be around these guys Les Snead, be around a bunch of the guys on the staff that I know, be around a bunch of these players that are just exciting to coach, and it was a great opportunity for me to come to join the Rams, and I am fortunate and excited to do it.
And just one more, how would you describe what it was about last year's Rams defense that allowed it to improve to number one in the league? And how does that knowledge kind of inform whatever your input will be about setting priorities for the several important free agents on the defensive side?
You know, some of the things that the Rams defense, you know, did just as well as anybody in the National Football League, and it's really important to our game, you know, the most important position, right? They were able to affect all quarterbacks. And when these guys came out and they were able to mentally and physically affect quarterbacks, I think that was the biggest difference that happened last year that allowed them to extend to a different greatness. And when that happened, I think they got more confidence. I think the back end played with more confidence. That allowed them to get after the ball. So if you can affect the quarterback and get the ball like they were able to do, you're going to have good statistics. Now, at the end of the day, ultimately, nobody's really going to be happy with being a number one defense. We are here to win a championship. And I wasn't brought here, you know, to try to duplicate what they did last year. We were brought here to win, and we were brought here to win a championship. And I want to get that done for Sean. I want to get that done for this community, and I want to get that done for you guys.
Greg?
Hey, Raheem, Greg Beecham with the AP here. Nice to meet you.
Hey, Greg. Nice to meet you.
Hey, you've known Sean since he was 22 years old, assistant wide receivers coach.
Sure.
Can you describe what it was like meeting him, and at what point did you know he was going to be the lead dog, catalyst, boy genius, as you called him, just a minute ago? What's been your history with that early?
He's had all the answers since 2008. You know, he's been a young man that you kind of knew. As soon as you met him, he lit up a room. He had a commanding presence. You know, we joke all the time about the guys that you're around that got these commanding presence as soon as you walk in the room. And you can feel the type of people that should be head coaches and that are going to be head coaches in this league. You can feel the leadership off of them. You can feel everything about them. You can feel all the stuff that you want to know and how they're going to go get it done. And that is him, you know. And ever since we met, and then having a chance to form and bond, the relationship that we got a chance to get when we were in Washington together, it was just went to a different level. And then really we just kind of grew together. You know, I came off so many experiences being the head coach. I was able to share with him, you know, as we sat in my Tampa house and we go visit each other, I would go visit him. We were able to share all those experiences, bounce things off the wall, and be able to talk about these things for years and how it would look and what it would look like when you got his opportunity because you knew it was come. And those are all things you do in the off season. Those are all things you do when you're on vacation together. Those are all things you would do when you run across each other, when you're not trying to absolutely go out there and game plan and destroy each other. So those are the things that we share together. Those are things that we'll continue to share, and those are the things that we'll have those memories for a long time because it all came to fruition.
Nancy?
Hey, Raheem, Lindsay Theory with ESPN. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Lindsay. Nice to meet you.
Can you kind of take us through just what the process was with how you and Sean got connected this offseason and ultimately how you decided to take the position of being the DC?
Well, it wasn't about really getting connected this offseason. You know, we got fired from Atlanta. And we were sitting around and we're trying to figure out if I'm be the head coaches of Atlanta or not. So we're playing the waiting game, and you know, and they picked Arthur Smith, who's a really good coach and kind of going to be great for those guys and what they're going to do moving forward. And I thank Atlanta for having the opportunity to be able to do those 11 games last year. At the end of that, now it's time to go get a job, and you're getting ready to set up and go for interviews for D coordinator positions. You're talking to different people. You're talking to different one of your friends with the opportunities that could present themselves all across the league. And then Sean McVay called, you know. Unfortunately, you guys just lost the game versus Green Bay. You come out of that game, Staley then has the opportunity to interview with a couple of teams. He gets a head job. And so the opportunity comes to go join Sean McVay, the LA Rams, Les Snead, our ownership and everything that's a part of this city. And it was an opportunity you just didn't want to pass up. You know, you talked about being able to work with the people in this business that you have relationships with and you want to win for. And it certainly fits all those characteristics of the place that you want to go when you want to come here. I've heard nothing but great things about this media. I heard nothing but great things about this community. I heard nothing but great things about this team. And I heard nothing but great things about how we're going to move forward and trying to go get a Super Bowl ring.
Mostly great things about the media, though, right?
Great things about the media. I really have.
And one follow-up for you. With the vacancies on the defensive staff, are you filling those, or is it like a combination of you and Sean? Sean? How are you guys going to do that?
You know, the more you do in this business, the more opinions you want to have in the room. Sean is definitely going to be a part of filling all the vacancies, myself included, and then all the other coaches on his staff. You know, you got really good people that are in place for a reason. And when you have people in place in a business like this, they know what you're looking for from a culture standpoint. The people in the building that knows you're looking for from a football standpoint. There's players in this building that know what you're looking for from what they want to be coached like and how they want to be coached like standpoint. So you use all that information, you go out and you find the best people to add to the staff. And when you add those great people to the staff, you go out for nothing else but to win a championship.
All right, and we'll wrap it up with Gary and then Rashawn.
Here, Raheem, Gary Klein from the Los Angeles Times. Just to be clear, so have any of those vacancies been filled yet with the assistants that departed, or will there be like a reshuffling of the staff to give some of the people that are there more responsibility?
You know, Gary, that's a very good question, and they have been filled, and I don't even know if I can answer this question yet because I don't know if it's technically released yet by our organization. I'll let those guys release all those things, but I will say this. There are a bunch of people in this building already that we know will be elevated that can assume some of the roles that were left vacant. And it's not on accident or it's not a mistake that happened. It happens because some of this process I just got finished talking about Lindsay with. They've been doing this well before I got here, and they've done a great job of putting themselves in position to be able to fill those roles with internal people because of their onboarding process. And we will continue to do those things, and Sean has done a great job of leading that way for us, and I'm proud to be a part of it, Gary.
And then
In terms of the pending free agents, Leonard Floyd, John Johnson, Troy Hill, how much of a say will you have in their potential futures? With
Gary, you're not kidding. I got all to say here. No, no, Gary.
What kind of a challenge is it to kind of be putting together, some of your ideas about the defense without really knowing who's going to be there and who may not be there?
So, Gary, to answer the later first is you have those challenges every single year. Every single year, your team's going to be different. The people you're coaching are going to be different. The different people that you're going to have are going to be different. And your job as a coach to get the best ability from those players that you have when you end up having them. As far as who makes the decision on who's going to be here, I'm definitely going to have an opinion. I'm going to give my opinion. I'm going to tell all the people that need to hear my opinion what they need to hear. Those people being the Les Needs of the world, the Sean McVays of the world, and whoever else in the organization that needs to hear or wants to hear those things. I am not the decision maker. There will be decision makers that are in process that we have the plan. You're talking about Les Need, you're talking about Sean McVay. They'll make those decisions on who we bring back based on whatever the reasons are, whether it be money, whether it be the new cap, whether the situations are and how you can bring people back. Have those players been great players for the Rams? There's no doubt. Would you like to have them all back? There's no question. Did they do a great job last year? You just told me they were number one in defense, and they have been very good for a long time, of course. But those situations will be changed, and always things will change every single year, and it's how the NFL naturally works.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Gary.
Hey, Coach.
How you doing, Rashawn?
Haylock, KTLA 5.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
As someone who spent the majority of your coaching career in the South and in the East, what are you most looking forward to in terms of acclimating out here in LA? Any myths that you're trying to dispel or anything of that nature?
Yeah, I'm trying not to wake up at 2:30 in the morning is what I'm trying to do. So if we can just get past that moment, that I'm waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning and pacing around the hotel, I'm trying to figure out what to do at 2:30 in the morning because Starbucks is not open yet. Trying to figure out what to do then. But if we can get past that phase and I can start sleeping in and get on a normal schedule, I genuinely like to be an early person anyway, but these days on the West Coast are pretty long. I got to get acclimated to waking up and calling the people from the East Coast that you need to talk to. I've been yelled at numerous amounts of time by my moms for not being able to talk to her within a timely fashion because by the time you're ready to call them, they're asleep. So some of those things you got to get acclimated to and just being out here on a long-term basis.
And then as far as relates to this last hiring cycle, they always talk about, the minority coaches or lack thereof, but there's also this notion out there that, some of the head coaches that were fired didn't go back to being position coaches. They, were able to receive coordinator positions. And, you got some hirings in the, as far as personnel, like in the GM field. What are your thoughts about that and the way that transpired?
I think it doesn't really matter what my thoughts are. It really matters more about what the results should be. And when you go out there and you get to talk about it and you bring awareness to it, I think that's just a great start. If we can start to bring the awareness and people get the opportunities. This year I was fortunate enough to interview for 2 head coaching jobs. You know, one being at the job that I was at with the Atlanta Falcons and one being with the Jacksonville Jaguars. You'd have to go ask those guys how we did and how I did and some of those things, but it's not really my job to determine those things. It goes back to me giving my opinion and there being decision makers. The decision makers are going to make who they want to hire and they're going to do those things. And that's their job. And it's my job to figure out how to put myself in best position to get one of those jobs. Is that something that leads me every day? No. Clearly what leads me is winning a championship. Having an opportunity to come here, win a championship, and not think about those things. Those kind of things take care of themselves with winning.
Thank you.
No problem.
Coach, I think we're good, man. We appreciate your time, sir.
Man, you guys are rough, man. This is a big crew, man. Have a good one.
Hey, Joe, Lindsay Theory from ESPN. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, just wondering if you can kind of take us through the process of what it was like connecting with Sean McVay and interviewing for the job and essentially getting out here.
Well, it was, obviously we had the rough year in Jacksonville, but I kept in touch with Coach McVay over the years. Ton of respect for him. You guys have built a great thing, or they built a great thing out here, and I was really, really jacked up to be part of it. So it worked out great, and got a lot of respect for a lot of people in this building. It's been built the right way.
And have you had a chance to connect with a few of your guys on special teams, like maybe Johnny Hecker or some of those guys?
I've talked to Johnny. I've talked to Matt Gay, Jake, and then a couple of the new signings. And then, I'm going to try to work my way through the rest of the team. But saw Aaron Donald today, probably the greatest player in the world, which was awesome to see. And, hopefully start to make connections with some of those guys.
Maria?
Hey, Joe, welcome to the team. I'm Maria Sorrell with Cox TV.
Great,
So,
thank you.
You have a lot of success coaching special teams. What is sort of the secret to your success, and what's the biggest challenge?
Well, I've been doing it a long time, obviously. I would say the secret to success is, my father-in-law is Coach Reeves, Dan Reeves, so that was a long time ago. But he told me to be myself. That was one of the biggest things that, he talked about. So I've tried to follow that as much as I can, be as passionate every day as I can, and just enjoy the job. That's really what it's all about. I don't feel like I've worked a day. So it's been a great ride, and hopefully we continue it right here and get another Super Bowl win. That'd be nice. I'd like to get one of those again.
Very good, thank you.
Stu?
Hey, Joe. Stu Jackson with the Rams.com. Kind of a similar question to Maria, but obviously you've been coaching special teams in the NFL for a long time and had success at several of your stops. What were some of the core foundational principles in terms of special teams that you learned early in your career that have allowed you to, like I mentioned, just have the success that you've had to this point in your career? Sure.
I think, just like offense and defense, it's no different from the standpoint of the quality of players you have. The more talented, the better player you have out there on Sundays, the better chance you got of success. So that's the first thing. It's all about the players. The NFL is a player's game, no question. And then the second thing is we'll try to condense the field as much as we can in coverage, which means, just trying to put it in small areas, which we've got a great punter to do that. And, the kicker, I think, is going to get better as we go. And then return game, you want to spread the field. Make it as wide as you can, get as many gaps as you can for, your return team, and then get a great returner. We've got to get, a guy that can ring the bell and drop the ball over the goal line. That's what we want him dropping it at.
Kevin?
Hi, Joe. Kevin Modesti. I cover the team for the LA Daily News, Orange County Register, and 9 other papers in Southern California. Good to meet you.
It's a lot of stuff, dude.
What is John Bonamigo's role, if any, specifically related to special teams now?
Yeah, I think that's probably a question for Coach McVay. That's something that I'm sure he's working through. I have a ton of respect for Bono, known him a long time, so that's probably a better question for Coach McVay.
Mm-hmm. What did you see of Johnny Hecker's performance this past season? I think his punting average was his career low, although that's a pretty high bar, obviously, to judge against.
Yeah, I still think he's, I think if not the top punter in the league, he's one of the top punters in the league. Sometimes you just get in situations where you may be in different parts of the field where you're not able to drive the ball as far as you did in certain other years. So that's part of it. We're going through all those stats and all those metrics right now, trying to figure it out. But I think he's a great punter, and hopefully next year he has a better year. That's what I hope. That's where our goal is.
Thank you.
Jordan?
Hey, Joe, Jordan Rodriguez with the Athletic Los Angeles. Nice to meet you and welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Southern California.
Thank you.
Not much temperature difference, but the humidity sure is different, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was awesome. Just went for a little walk. That's why I was late. I apologize.
I wanted to go back to your philosophy on especially developing good kick and punt returners. First of all, what did you see on tape so far as you dug into it from the Rams' performance in that phase? And second of all, what are some key qualities and characteristics you look for as you assess new talent and those sort of development potential items?
Yeah, we're still evaluating the return game. You know, we really, it's just me right here now, but I think one of the things that you got to really evaluate as much as anything is the better the blocking schemes are and the better holes you have to run through, the better the returner is going to be. Now, where you get special is when it's a guy that has Devin Hester type ability, those type of things. That's where you can really become special. But we've got to make sure that we get the holes open at the start, and then hopefully we can get the right guy back there, and it might be the right guy that we have right now. You know, he's a young guy, and hopefully we can get him up to speed and get him a little bit better than he was last year.
And then when you talk about special teams and coaching as a philosophy, how do you get guys to, particularly when they're young and developing in the league, buy into the concepts of special teams and more so even learn that language and be passionate about that language?
Yeah, I think it starts with the organization. It starts with, the guy at the top, and with Coach McVay here, I know how important it is to him, But I think you just have to develop a relationship with the players, which obviously that's a little bit harder in the Corona days right now, but it's definitely doable. And I think you can get a relationship started with them, get them to trust you, and then all players want to have success. All players want to be shown how they're going to be more successful, whether it's for team success, whether it's for individual success. No matter how you do that, a player's going to respond to that. And some of the guys that are younger at the start won't get it, but they will. I can promise you that.
Kurt? Hey, Joe. Kurt Sandoval from ABC7, and probably the most important thing, an Arvada, Colorado native.
There you go, babe. What school did you go to?
I was on the other side of Sheridan, so I went to Westie.
Oh, okay, I got you.
We can talk about that later.
Later, all right, good. Don't hold it against me.
You mentioned COVID. What's the challenge because so many young guys play special teams? What's the challenge with when, like last year, guys didn't come in and some of these COVID restrictions of really developing as much as you can when sometimes it's more Zoom than on the field?
Yeah, it was tough, but you just have to make the most of those times that are on the field. Your drill work, all your technique work has got to be spot on. It's got to be, really, really focused, and you got to get those guys going in the right direction. But, just like everything else, if you're successful at what you do from a coaching standpoint, you figure it out. I'm 55, but I can run the Zoom pretty well, and I can figure out how to meet with them on those platforms, and we'll figure it out.
And obviously, I remember back 10, 12 years ago, you were in that horrible situation in Dallas where the balloon came down, and if you had surgery, do you have any residual effects to that? Did that change the way you approach life, approach coaching?
Residual, am I sore? Do I have a lot of metal in me? Do I have some stuff that, is tough to deal with? Yeah, but a lot of people do. So, that part of it I'm not too worried about. I would say probably that experience made me enjoy coaching even that much more, because they told me that, there's a good chance you're not going to walk. There's a good chance you may not be able to coach anymore. So getting out of that and seeing the world on the other side, it gave you a good, fresh perspective. Hopefully I was a better coach, a better husband, a better father, and you see things a little differently when you go through some tough times like that.
Yeah. Joe, appreciate it. Congratulations on the new job.
Thank you, man. Go Arvada.
We'll go with Gary.
Hey, Joe. Gary Klein from the Los Angeles Times. Johnny Hecker and Jake McQuaid have been, part of this special teams unit for so long. And now Jake, a pending unrestricted free agent, if he is not back for financial reasons or whatever, how difficult is it to break in a new long snapper and for field goals and punts and kind of get that worked out?
Well, unfortunately and fortunately, the last 2 years, I've had to go through that with snappers. We got a young guy 2 years ago, and then we got another young guy in Jacksonville this year that actually beat him out. So I just think, you really have to get the right one. You have to do a hell of a job of making sure that the personnel knows exactly what you want and get the right guy. And, hopefully we'll be able to get through that. On the other side of it, though, Jake is a great long snapper in this league. Part of the reason that Hecker's been successful, part of the reason that the Zerline was successful here was because of him. So a lot of respect. And, again, the finances, they'll just have to work those things out. And hopefully he'll have a chance to come in here and compete because I think he's excellent.
Thanks very much.
All right, and we'll wrap this up with Greg and then Eric.
Hey, Joe, Greg Beecham with the AP. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
The Rams have a pretty long recent history of really outstanding special teams play under John Fossil, and one of the aspects of that was John was a very aggressive coordinator in terms of like trick plays, things to keep the other team on their toes, that kind of thing. Last year, Johnny Hekker didn't throw a pass. High school quarterback was very disappointed. What's your general attitude on trickeration and stuff like that? Having that in your arsenal, in your repertoire.
Trickeration. That's a great word, by the way. I like that. I'm going to steal that for sure. It depends on the situation. I think it depends on what the head coach's plan is, what your team plan is. You want to play complementary football as much as possible. Sometimes they come up, sometimes they don't. In Jacksonville, we were very successful the last few years doing that. And, I know having the talent that John has, I hope we're able to, continue the trickeration. That's what I hope happens. So we'll see what happens.
And I noticed that Jalen Ramsey took some special team snaps for you while you were together in Jacksonville. What can you tell us about him and that experience coaching him?
Well, he might be 1A and 1B as far as the greatest players in the world, but he's a great dude. I mean, I know he's passionate and he wants to win football games. That's what Jalen's all about. So I know he'll do whatever we ask of him, and he'll do it as hard as he can, as fast as he can. So I love Jalen. I'm glad to be back with him.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
We'll wrap this up, Eric.
Hey, Coach Eric Williams, Sports Illustrated. Congratulations on the new gig.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. You've been doing this for a long time, so I wanted to know, in your early days, what attracted you to coaching special teams? And then who were some of your early influences when you first started coaching?
Yeah, I really thought I was going to be a strength coach. That's really what I thought I was going to be when I started. And then we had some stuff in the staff in Denver. The first time I was in Denver that we had a guy that was doing some other jobs. And that's when Coach Reeves said to me, hey, I want you to try to start helping out a little bit. And I was more like a GA really my first few years. And, it just went from there. I went to the Giants as the special teams coordinator. And after that, it's been quite a ride. But I would say the first thing is Coach Reeves. He really paid a lot of attention to it and was instrumental in getting me started that way. A guy named Mike Westhoff, that was, one of the famous special teams coaches. He's actually writing a book right now that I've read a few chapters in. But he was probably the one that helped me the most. And then all the way through, there's a lot of guys. Joe Avizano was a big help to me. A lot of the older guys shared, and hopefully I'll be able to share with the young guys the way it is right now too, just not too much. You don't want to give them everything.
And then what makes a good special teams coach?
Well, like I said earlier, players, the better your players are, the better coach you're going to be. I don't care what position you have. But I think the passion part of it needs to show on the field on Sunday. They need to feel that. Your players need to feel that, and they need to buy into what you're selling. You got to be a great salesman, and hopefully we can get that done here and get this thing cranking in the way it needs to be.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coach, we appreciate you, sir. Thanks for your time.
Sorry about being late, man. I apologize. That won't happen again. I apologize.